Hello, everyone, and welcome to SUFCtv Live. You're here with me, and I'm here with you, James Board, hosting this evening. First of all, I just want to start off with saying I hope everybody's doing well at home. Hope everybody's staying indoors. Hope everyone's staying safe, and also I hope that we have a good evening tonight. So, what I want to do, I just want to start off by kind of going through what the plans are for this evening. And I also would like to say that throughout tonight, I'd be really interested to see everybody's comments. I'd like anybody to say if they're seeing any visual issues, or audio issues, or anything like that. Just comment in the chat, and I will hopefully get to it as soon as I can. So, what have we got in store tonight? Well, as the title alludes to, we're going live with Dave Farebrother, chairman of the board, with James Board. It's going to be a crazy night. So I'm gonna call Dave at about 7:10, and we're gonna have a little catch up, see if there's anything anything from the board side of you that there's any updates on. I'm sure you, as well as anybody a part of the Sutton United family, as I like to call it, is very interested to see how things are going. It's a very tough time for football clubs all up and down the country, big clubs, little clubs, and so we're going to be talking about any Sutton United boardroom stuff that you can share with us. But I don't want it just to be centred around the tough time everybody's having, and I want to put in a little something nice as well. So we are going to be talking about a few old Sutton United memories. We're going to be showing a few clips with you guys as well, and we're going to be talking goal of the season in brackets so far, because we're not sure how the rest of the season is going to play out just yet. And so, 6Ls, good evening, James. Mike Nicholson. Hi, Mike. How you doing? And we can see our resident commentator, legendary Sahil, is chiming in. Already got a question. Lovely jubbly. Now that gets me on to the topic of this evening as well. Obviously, the chat is there for everybody to use. We're going to want everybody to put in their questions, either for Dave or myself. It's not a competition, but I imagine you're going to be asking me more questions than Dave, and that's fine. As my girlfriend says, I got all the answers, so you know. But yeah, so everybody, please, I want everybody to be chiming in with questions. And also, like I said, I don't want it all to be, doom and gloom, what's going on, everybody worrying, because I'd also want everybody to talk about some of their favourite memories. Like I said, we've got some clips to share with you. And I can see another Scott Humphreys, Weirdy Amber and Chocolates. Whoop, whoop. Whoop, whoop indeed. I must say, in preparing, being a part of SUFCtv and getting clips and stuff together, the other day I was watching, I think about 10 back-to-back highlights footage of our games, and I've got to say, personally, I'm really missing going to the games. I sat through about 10, getting some clips together, and it was only then when I kind of sat through it, and it goes on for a couple of hours, and I just think to myself, wow, I really miss being down the Gander Green. Everything from when the players walk out and you hear the song over the tannoy, the Angel Plastic song, which is honestly it's a weird thing, but it's one of my favourite things when we're down at Gander Green and I hear Angel Plastics, and that's when you know things are about to kick off and the players are coming out. I see already. I've got a question for myself from Mr. Sahil. So Sol, you want to know where I got my cushions from? I'm not going to lie to you. I am a fantastic interior designer, right? I'm great with that sort of stuff. My girlfriend has other ideas, and she said that she was going to have to furnish indoors. I believe they may be from Next, maybe somewhere else. I'm not sure. I will have to get back to you on that one. But yeah, so I mean, so we're getting 5 minutes to go until I'm going to call Dave. Anybody who's viewing us now, you can throw some questions in ahead of time. Like I said, that Dave's going to be giving us an update from the board side of things. We're going to be talking about how's everybody doing at home, and how's Dave doing. Talking about some memories past, and also some more recent memories, and talking over some of the best goals this season. Yes, Scott Humphreys, Angel Plastics, we got the lot. If you've listened to me on commentary a few times when Angel Plastics is coming out, if I'm not saying anything, I do like to sing along to it. So to be fair, that's good marketing, because if an advert's making you want to sing along to it, quality that and do you know what, it's funny if you think about adverts from like the 90s, 2000s when I was little, and I can almost recite some of the tunes. So that's how you know they get to you. But right, so like I said, I've outlined to everybody. Hi everybody else that's joining. The viewership keeps going up, which must be you log in, you see my face, and you've got to tell your friends as part of that. If anyone who's viewing has got Sutton United friends, share it around. Tell everybody to log in, see us, come and join us. It's light-hearted. It's an informative, light-hearted evening. We don't want to be going on about everything too much. I've seen recommendations, and it's my recommendation as well. Stay informed of what's going on, but don't let it be the be-all and end-all sitting in front of the TV, letting it all come and go and go in. You've got to take a break. And hopefully I'm going to be able to provide some entertainment for you tonight. But I guess you'll be the judge of that. Brush my hair. Do you know what? I'm running out of hair to brush. But when I'm having my big moment, my big famous moment with my tens of followers, of course I've got to dress up a little bit. So, okay, we're a little ahead of time. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to ring up Dave, and we can get this evening going. So again, as we said, anybody on the chat, please start bringing in your questions, anything you can think you want answered, and then we can see how this goes. Now, I remember when I've called through before, I do feel a little bit like Chris Tarrant at this stage. If you listen, when the phone call goes through, and it sounds a bit like I'm going to start saying, Chris Tarrant here.
Hello, James.
Hello, Dave. How you doing?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear me, sir?
Yeah, excellent. How are you?
Fantastic. I'm doing well, thank you. I was just saying, I always feel at this stage when I'm calling through on the stream that I feel a bit like Chris Tarrant at this stage. I do the call through the call.
Apart from the money, you look just like him.
Do you know what? I was just saying, there's a comment in the chat about my hair. I've almost got about as much hair as him as well, which is unfortunate. But so Dave, thank you for joining us. Currently we're getting up to 40 viewers, and I'm sure with you joining us, and it's not just me now, that's going to rocket through. But yeah, thank you very much.
20. Yeah.
So I guess starting off, how are you doing personally during this quote-unquote lockdown?
Well, first of all, I'd just like to say I hope that every Sutton supporter and everybody else indeed is doing all right, that they're coping with this, that they're not unwell, and they all pull through without too many problems. It's a unique situation, and I don't think anyone could have foreseen it even a few weeks ago. It seems crazy to me that it's less than 3 weeks since we played Hartlepool in front of a bumper crowd. So, very odd situation, and I hope everyone's getting through it, and I hope the football club is helping as much as we can.
Yeah.
I'll make the point tonight. I'm obviously on here to talk about football and Sutton United in particular, but I do recognise outside is much more important than that. So if I focus on the football, it's not that I'm trying to trivialise what's going on in the world outside. The audience is a Sutton United audience, so that's what we're aimed at.
Oh yeah, I mean,
how am I?
No, of course. I mean, so
Uh,
I've said already that it's important to be informed and it's important to know what's going on, but you've got to take your mind off it as well. And I think people, at the start, I kind of fell victim of it, of watching it a bit too much, and it ends up worrying you. And it's stuff like what we're doing tonight that can hopefully, give at least a little break to some of the people viewing, eh?
exactly. We use that hashtag in it together deliberately. But I think at the moment we certainly are, and I think we can all help ourselves. From a personal point of view, I'm actually in my third week of working from home or lockdown, whatever you want to call it. I started before Boris gave the mandate, because my wife is in that highly vulnerable category, suppressed immune system, so she can't go out at all. As you can imagine, she's absolutely tearing her hair out.
Yeah.
At least I get to walk the dogs. I'm lucky I live in a small village and you don't see anybody. I think I've been going out with the dogs for 3 weeks, and I think in those 3 weeks put together I've seen about 9 people. So it's not too bad. So I'm coping. Obviously, as I said, work from home, so some of my work I can do from home. And obviously there's a lot of football club work to take up my time as well. So I'm not bored, and I'm fine, and I'm in good health. Probably that's enough about me. I'm sure you're much more interested in what's the health of the football club.
Yeah. Well, no, do you know what? I mean, it's one of the reasons why and I'm sure many of the people, love non-league and love Sutton in particular, is how everybody feels a lot closer together. And, at a big club, when you're talking to, one of millions of fans, it feels a bit of a disconnect. But it's always nice to hear, how individuals at the club are doing as well. So, but that's, good to hear.
I think that's true. And I'm sure if you supported another club, they would say the same thing. But I like to think that there is something special about this club. Just give you a small anecdote.
I love an anecdote.
Roughly the same age as me and is a good mate. Years ago, when he was the centre forward for the team, banging in the goals, and I was secretary of the Supporters Club, we did a book to commemorate the youths going into the conference for the first time. And we collected them from the printers, and they were in the back of my old Mark II Cortina. I paid all the £200 for that car, so, a lot of money for me.
Yeah.
We watched the game, and I went out to my car after the match to get the books, and I thought, I left my car there. Perhaps I left it somewhere else. No. I looked around the car park, and it wasn't there. And it was clear that someone had taken it.
Yeah.
Mick asked what I was doing, and he got me to sit in his car, and he drove me around Sutton and Cheam looking for my lost car.
No.
Somehow, I suspect that wouldn't happen at Old Trafford.
No.
With Wayne Rooney, Joe Jordan, Lou Macari, or whoever the centre forward is of your era.
Yeah.
So I think that is what's special about non-league. You get to know everybody from the chairman down to the newest supporter to the tea lady. I mean, everybody knew Rose, and I think that's what keeps clubs like this special. I think we're more special than most, but I would say that.
No, it's true. So I think of myself. So I have been coming to Gander Green since 2017, and already met so many people. Got involved doing SUFCtv, just for the love of it, really. And it's everybody's so welcoming. There's no, okay, well, only if you do this and you've got to do this for us. It's whatever you can do, and everybody's in it together. Even before everything, with the world as it is, that was always really our mantra anyway. Everybody's in it together and we're all here for each other.
I'm glad to hear you say that. I mean, that's the culture we try to foster. Sometimes it breaks down, but that's what we're after. We're meant to be, at the end of the day, it's meant to be fun. We're a business. We're here to play football and watch football, and it's meant to be fun. For most of my time watching the club, and this is my 53rd year of watching the club, for most of my time, we were a men's first team, a reserve team, and then a youth team, and that was it. And that was where the focus was. But now we're 40-plus teams. We've got a women's team. You heard Duncan on this show a few days ago, talking about how well they're doing, and how they think the sky's the limit for them. But we've got a fantastic disability team, and you can't speak highly enough about what Steve King's done with them. There are other people helping him, but it's his drive that saw it through. Before it even started, he paid for himself to go on coaching courses to learn how to coach people with disabilities, not just in football.
Yeah.
And he's picked up that baton and he's run with it, and he's turned us into one of the best disability setups in the South. Not just at our level, Arsenal and Chelsea.
Yeah.
Full of praise for what we do. So it's a fantastic community club now, and I think this is a time when we can try and put things back. What we haven't got is the resources of the Liverpools and the Arsenals and the Man United who've got hundreds of staff to say, we'll do all these food runs for the community and we'll do this and that, because we employ, apart from the players, we employ 3 full-time people. So we're a very different beast to the full-time professional clubs. And it's interesting to see how they're getting pilloried at the moment for their response, given the fact that the wage of one of their players could probably see a non-league club through to the end of this crisis.
Yeah. I mean, so there's actually, interestingly enough, on that point, there's a question in the chat already about maybe what do you think about the Premier League clubs asking for government help as well, and considering, you know, if you think some, you know, as you said, some of the players.
Sorry about the background. That's the dog.
Well, I can tell
having
you,
a bit of a woof at someone outside.
So there was the question. So I can tell you that Dave's dog is not happy about that.
She's got her own opinion. I think it's a difficult one, but it is hard to see when clubs are earning absolute fortunes through TV money. Let's be honest, the TV money swamps their gate money. When they're earning absolute fortunes, for the players to still be on the same money when the cleaner and the cook and the bottle washer is either laid off or furloughed or receiving less money, something doesn't seem quite right. I'm not in the business of criticising other clubs. We're trying to ever avoid criticising clubs and FAs and whatever through here, because, you know, there's a time and place for doing that. But it is hard to see how that's justifiable in the broader sense.
Yeah, I mean, like you say, you know, it's. I think the thing is with the situation at the moment is that there's no precedent for this, right? Nobody saw this coming, and I guess everybody's kind of, you know, learning as you go. So there's reports just before we went live, actually, about the Belgian Super League saying that they're going to void it, and they're just going to, so the champions are going to be decided as who's top at the moment, and it looks like potentially there's an announcement next week about that. And other leagues are still wondering what to do, and there's still questions about football and the Champions League and the cups and everything. So I think it's, you know, there's a argument to say that people are, you know, learning as they go, kind of thing.
Definitely, and I think football authorities are coming in for some criticism over their handling of what they're going to do with this season in terms of when does it end, how are they going to end it, promotion and relegation issues. And I think that's a bit unfair. They can't have anticipated this when the rules were drawn up. No one's, you know, the last time this happened was war, and everybody, you know, that was obvious. You stopped because you couldn't. That was it. No one knew how it would go along. It would be a long time. This is different because we're anticipating an end sometime in the foreseeable future. We just don't know when. And whatever the decision they make, they will upset half the clubs that are at the sharp end of the table.
Yeah.
We're in the middle. Whatever decision they actually make probably isn't going to affect us that much. But if you're top of the table and thinking, we've spent a lot of money this season to get promotion, you're going to be upset if you're denied it.
Yeah.
If you're at the bottom of the table, you're probably very much hoping that the season is null and void so you don't go down. Whatever decision they make, I think someone's going to be unhappy. They're clearly trying to minimise the risk of legal action. I do think whatever they do, it needs to be consistent. I don't think within one country, different leagues can do different things.
No.
Because then that does open up a whole different can of worms.
No, it does. I mean, so I'd seen on the forum somebody had mentioned, I think a few, when the season we finished third in 2017, 2018, I think that season was. At this point, we were top of the league, right? And we would have been more than, we would have been like, oh, end the season promotion, fantastic. Equally, if they told us, yeah, we're going to avoid it and this never happened, we would have been up in arms. But like you say, now, it's, well, luckily for us in our particular situation, we're looking like we're not going to be affected promotion relegation wise.
Yeah, I think the one principle I'd stick to is I think the decision's got to be taken out of the hands of the league. Because in this league and most other leagues, the board of directors includes chairmen of the clubs that are competing in those competitions. So some of those chairmen will be affected by what happens and will have a vested interest in the consequences. So personally, I think the decision needs to be taken by the Football Association, who at least are completely impartial.
Yeah, no, see, I tend to agree. I think the only issue is that it's not as simple with the FA, for example, because the higher up the league you get to the Premiership, then you start talking about European football, right? Then UEFA get involved, Champions League, Europa League, and again, then you start talking about money in terms of TV money and what happens with that. I think that's where it all kind of gets a little bit muddied, right? Is where you have various different people.
Yeah, definitely. It's very much, and you'd have to say that the ideal solution would be if every competition could actually be played to completion.
Oh yeah.
But at the moment, that looks like pie in the sky. I mean, it may be possible. Who knows? It may be possible, but at the moment, and the longer and longer every day this drags on, the more remote that possibility seems. But it would be the ideal solution to actually play the games to conclusion.
I mean, that's the thing, though, because this, like we've said already, because this is such a unexpected event, there's no precedent for this. We don't really know. Like, it's so difficult to plan in advance. I was talking to my girlfriend earlier, and she said, "Well, how long do you think it's going to be?" And I'm like, honestly, I'd say even if just being allowed back into the office in June, I think that would be the earliest, and that's just being able to travel back into the office. Having crowds of people together again, who knows?
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't like to speculate. I'm not an expert on that, but I wouldn't be at all surprised if you're right that this could drag on for weeks. I mean, they're telling people that are in the vulnerable group stay indoors for 12 weeks, so they're thinking it's lasting 3 months.
Yeah, no, it's true.
For the medical officers, so who knows?
Yeah, no,
anyway,
it's true.
Should we get into something a bit slightly more?
Yeah. Well, I mean, so I suppose. I know we talked about a few things already, but is there any kind of update from the board, or is there any kind of Sutton related news?
Yeah, well, I can sort of tell you what we're doing. As people who listen to SUFCtv and read the forum and the website know, we have a policy of only telling people what we know and what's true, and we don't speculate. So we don't say we're hoping to sign Wayne Rooney. We tell you when we have signed him or when we haven't. We don't guess. So some of the things I say tonight, I can't go into detail because at the moment they're still
of course.
a little bit. What have we been doing? Well, the first thing is, unbelievably, we've got Bruce Elliott to use online communication systems. He can now communicate through Zoom.
Really?
That, I think, is the most remarkable result of this whole coronavirus.
Well, I mean, silver linings and all that, right?
Yeah. Fortunately, we got Dominic Feltham on board, who obviously is chief executive of a global company, and he has set up Zoom meetings for us. I have to say I'm very impressed with Zoom. It's really good. We'll come back to that later. And the board is meeting every Tuesday night through Zoom. Everyone attends, and we have a full and frank discussion. And as you can imagine, most of it is about finance. Yeah. Because we're not playing any matches. We're not hiring out the pitch. We're not hiring out the facilities, and we have no bar income. That's virtually all of our income streams halted until further notice. Yeah. The one bright spark for us on that is the academy. So hats off to Marvin and Ricky and their team, because through the online portal that they have in place, they're able to keep delivering the educational side of the academy. And people, I hope, know that our academy, it's not just football, there's an education side to it as well. So people are getting academic as well as football tuition. They're able to keep delivering that academic education. So at the moment, we are still generating some income through the academy. What impressed me even more is that now's the time when they recruit for next year. And if we couldn't recruit for next year, that means our academy income for next season will be greatly down. So what they're doing is they're holding remote interviews over the phone or FaceTime, what have you, and they're getting the candidates to send in videos of them in action, either in matches or showing their skills, so that they can decide that way who to offer place to. So that's quite ingenious. Well done, Marvin. Well done, Ricky. Well done, everybody else. Great idea. So that's good.
That's fantastic.
However, as a football club, we still, as any business actually, whether we're a football club or not, you've still got expenses. So the ground's closed, but there's still some electricity being used. You know, we've got security systems, we've got heating systems. We've still got the rent and rates to pay. Well, the rates are suspended, so that's different. We've still got the rent to pay. We've still got the phone bills and utility bills. And we made the decision, as you saw in last week's board bulletin, that we felt we had to, morally, and the right thing to do, make sure all the staff were paid up to the end of March. It wouldn't have been right to tell them 3 or 4 days before the end of the month, actually, you're not going to get the money you thought you were going to. That would have been completely wrong, and they've all been paid, and that's quite right. But we've got no income. So moving forward, our discussions are, how do we weigh up what our liabilities are, what our income is, what support we're getting from the government, how can we leverage that to help us balance the books. So the most important thing for us at the end of all this, whenever it is, whether it's May, June or December, that we're still in business and we're ready to compete in the next football season. So that's what we're trying to do. We think, having seen what some of the other clubs have been saying about the position they're in and the losses they're incurring and have incurred, we're probably in a relatively good position. We're not swimming with money. Everybody knows that. It's a hand-to-mouth existence in this league. I doubt whether anybody makes a profit. It's a really difficult competition. But we think at the moment, and it does depend how long this lasts, we will be able to pull through it in a relatively strong position. And I have to say the board have been excellent, whether it's Bruce and Adrian with help from Rob Oakes looking at all the finance side, whether it's Mickey Joyce who's carrying on still looking at all the details of the pavilion that we hope can get built, when that will happen now because of this, a little bit extra delay. People like Tony Dolbear, the press secretary, Pat Carr, myself, looking at what we can do around the communications, liaising with SUFCtv, what we can put on the website, how we engage with the fans. Other people looking at other income streams. We sent an application in today for another income stream to see whether that can support us. Everyone is pulling together. We obviously all have different opinions. Some might think the season should end. Some might think it should be played to conclusion. Some might think it should be null and void. Doesn't matter. Everybody is pulling in the same way. No one's swimming against the tide. And I have to say, I'm very, very impressed with the board and the management committee. They're pulling out all the stops. So hats off to everybody.
I mean, no, that is good to hear. To be fair, from my side of things, obviously not being involved in your world, I kind of got that impression in terms of how the club's doing financially. Like you said, like you alluded to, there are other clubs in the same league as us who are putting out financial, ways to financially kind of stabilise themselves and kind of taken measures with their staff and whatnot. So I think, and I mean, I don't know if you'd agree, but I think part of us consistently not having the biggest budget in the league has also led to us trying to keep our costs down wherever possible anyway, which has potentially helped, whereas some of the other guys some of the other teams potentially in the league maybe were spending a bit more when they thought the money was going to come in, if you know what I mean.
Well, certainly there are clubs in this league that have 30 or 40 non-footballing staff. As I've said earlier, we have 3. Full-time staff, I think it is. Not counting the academy and not counting the casual staff. So that puts us in a different position. However, there are government support packages. There's money meant to be coming via the council. There's this job retention scheme, which is obviously the government saying we'll pay some of the wages. Every business is going to be looking at that to see if it can help them, because, you know, whether it's sport, whether it's entertainment, you know, same for theatres. If your income streams have dried up, you're going to raid every well that you can possibly raid, because you'd be mad not to.
Yeah.
And as directors, you have a fiducial responsibility to do that anyway. You know, you've got to keep your company as a going concern, whatever
true.
industry you're in. I work for a massive global company, and, you know, I know they're having discussions about how they're going to cope, because they're in every country in the world. So every country in the world's got these problems. So whether you're big or small, it's a problem. I was talking to one of my neighbours, shouting from about 15 feet away, 15 yards away.
Social distancing, good to hear.
Early this evening. He's self-employed, and he says, I've got enough materials to keep me going for a week, and after that, I've no idea what I'm going to do. So whatever you think for a football club, there are people out there with much worse considerations than us.
No, that is true. I suppose so. There are some things fans, followers of Sutton can do. There's a question in the chat saying how I know numbers exactly, obviously, but the early bird season tickets, obviously a way to help at the moment. If anybody is interested, how is that going at all? Do you know, or?
Yeah, I mean, the sales are good. They're obviously down on last season for two reasons. One, we've lost the football matches, which people were going to where they were buying tickets. And secondly, people maybe furloughed themselves, maybe their money's down, maybe they're self-employed, so they haven't got the money in their pockets at the moment. And there's the uncertainty about when next season will start and what will happen. So we can understand that sales aren't as good as last year, but they're not bad. If you can afford a season ticket, and I know most people can't, so I'm not pleading, then that is a good way to support the club, because every little helps. At the moment, we've had people contact us about fundraising schemes, and it may come to that, but we're conscious that our supporters have got their own lives to lead. We want to run the business first, and if we have to come to supporters, we will. We can be sure, but before we do that, we'll explore every avenue. So we think we're in a reasonable place. Nobody's in a good place. Nobody at all at our level. The only clubs in a good place still are probably the ones in the Premiership. That might be a problem for them if they're not on television for too long. But we're doing what we can, and we're exploring every avenue and doing what we can, as you say, to cut costs, to bring money in, to see can we do something differently.
To be fair, though,
that's the key thing, as you mentioned earlier.
To be fair, I think that's again a sign of the kind of the community and the fan involvement in the club, that it's more of a, we don't want to, considering the fact that fans have their own lives to lead, we don't want to come to them unnecessarily, and I think that's again part of the feeling around Sutton United as a whole, that and I think that's just a great kind of endorsement of us, is that we're thinking of fans first, right, rather than club first.
I mean, as everyone knows, we're a fan zone club. I hear of all these other fan zone clubs claiming they were the first. I'm not going to claim we were the first, but essentially, since the limited company was set up in 1953, we've been owned by fans. Whether it's Andrew Letts and Peter Malloy, they were fans. We've been fan zones for a long time. What we've done in recent years is we've greatly expanded that fan base by expanding the share capital, so a lot more fans can own a share. But that model does mean we're not funded by someone who's throwing £100,000 at the club every month. We're funded by our business, and eventually that will become clearly a problem. If this carries on for too much longer, but we don't know. We really have no idea. We're speculating. We don't know where things are leading us.
Of course.
And all I can say is we will do the best we can.
It is good to hear. And there's a comment in the chat I can see from Scott Humphrey, who says, Dave, I hope you know that all the fans and players have been making sure we're all okay, talking to each other on social media. You don't just get that anywhere. I love this club. And I think that speaks for a few people. The fan interaction. I mean, even again, like we said at this level, talking to people who work at the club, players, coaches, and that actual interaction, which can really lift spirits at this time, which I think is quality.
Yeah, I'm sure that's going on. I'll make a submission. It's not because I'm an old fogey, but I make a conscious decision to stay off the social media. I do follow the Sutton United Twitter to see, some of the things that are going up on there, to know what's happening. But I try and certainly stay off Facebook and all the other media, for the basic reason that during the football season, I probably spend, on average, 3 hours a night on football business after getting home from work.
Yeah.
If I was on social media as well, my wife would probably murder me.
So it's funny you say that. So I'm working from home, and so is my girlfriend, and our living situation isn't set up to have an office. So we're both sharing the dining room table, extended as far as it can go. So 9 to 5, I'm working on my laptop and she's working on her computer, and then about from 6 o'clock until she goes to bed, I'm working on my Mac, doing stuff for SUFCtv. So I know exactly what you mean.
Yeah. I have to say, certainly for my situation, one of the things that keeps both of us sane is the dogs. If you haven't got one, then maybe for whatever reason, having the dogs around really is a great stress reliever for me.
No, it's do you know what? So I don't have a dog. I see your dog and I raise you a cat.
Yeah, we've had cats as well. We lost our last cat last year. But,
that's a shame.
No, I understand. And the other things we're doing, you asked earlier what we're doing. So one of the things I've done is I've set up a virtual pub.
Oh, really?
They set it up because the technology failed last week, so we didn't actually have our grand opening. It's now due for tomorrow night. We're reverting to Zoom. We had a test, so we're going to do it in Zoom, which means we can all self-isolate in our own front rooms, but we can all still have a drink, and we can all still have the same inane conversation we would have if we were sitting around the pub table.
Yeah.
It's just that we're doing it responsibly and safely. And the other thing we're doing at the weekend is we're going to start a weekly quiz between the directors and committee as well. So I think we'll probably take it in turns to set questions, but we'll do a quiz. It's to stay in touch, but also it's to stay in touch without worrying about football all the time.
Yeah.
So like we would if we were at the match, we're talking about other things.
Yeah.
We're not talking about football finance and transfers and who's playing well and who isn't all the time and how many points have we got. We're just living.
No,
that's important.
Yeah, we said previously, right? Thinking about it too much or only fixating, on something, and it's just going to be too much after a while. And that's why it's really important to, and as we're going to do further on this in this chat of ours, kind of move away from this and talk about some happier things, right?
Yeah, indeed.
And it's really important. I think only one more thing that I really was wondering, and just see, how the players and staff getting on. I don't know if if you're in contact. Staying fit at home or.
Personally, I'm not, but I do know people who have been speaking to them. That's my knowledge. They're still in good spirits. They were sent home on the day of the Fylde game after that was called off. Matt abandoned training for that week, and the original plan was they were going to come back in the next week, which was last week. But then he said, no, don't bother. Just keep yourself fit. You all know what to do.
Yeah.
Treat it like a pre-season. Keep yourself fit so that when you do come back, it's not a surprise and you're ready. And I mean, half the players, to be fair, are personal fitness trainers anyway.
Yeah.
So they won't be too much of a problem.
No.
And they do know that they can contact us if they've got issues, that we'll support them. We've got Leonard, the club chaplain, who, although he'd sort of stepped back from the role a little bit, he was only too pleased to step in and provide this pastoral support line. Players at any level or any supporters or any officials want to call him because they're having difficulties, then that's there. That's something we've set up. I'm quite pleased with that. But again, I know they can phone Matt. Matt is proving himself to be an exceptional person. Forget football manager. Really easy to talk to, very supportive, very open, not just about football. And I think he's a really good person for them to have as their boss at this time.
No, that is good, because as we've already said, it's not all about football, and sometimes you just need to have somebody like that. And I can attest to that. I mean, and I'm sure, everybody who is in the chat who's, gone to the bar after a game and seen Matt there, can attest to the fact that he's, forget football, like you say, he's just a, top bloke.
He is, yeah.
And I'm sure, he's the right person to have, whilst all this is going on. I'm sure the players are doing well having him with them. And I think it's also good, to have that also, the chaplain as well. But yeah, no, I think...
Yeah, I was quite pleased that happened. And the morale amongst the players was good. When we weren't sure what was happening when we played Hartlepool, talking to Matt afterwards, he said, the morale amongst the group of players is absolutely first rate. He said, we've got a really tight-knit bunch of players. He said, I'm really, really pleased with the atmosphere within the squad.
Quality. No, and again, I mean, that stems from the coaching staff, right? That stems from him, and I think they're all, they all kind of it's a good atmosphere, and I think that's helped us this season. If we're talking on the pitch at the start of the season where things weren't going our way, and we were down, we were in a relegation zone at one point, but you could tell the mood around the boys never really dropped. And part of that,
no, it didn't.
Then kind of got us to where we are now, right?
It did, and as you would expect, any board of directors that sees their team lose, not win week after week, talks to the manager. And the manager said, well, you can see the performances. Do you think the performances are dropping off? And we said, well, no. He said, we just need to change something. He said, I don't think we're particularly poorer than any team in this league. We're just not getting the results for whatever reason. And he tweaked a few things. He made a couple of changes in the team. We got a bit of luck with a bounce, and suddenly, what was it? We've lost 2 games in the last 19 or something.
I think
like
so.
That. I can't remember off the top of my head, but so I think he has turned it around. We've done well. I don't think anybody was expecting him to be 10 points clear at the top of the table in his first season. But he's done well.
I mean, it was a big change.
Luck, a couple of 0-0 draws or 1-1 draws have gone our way. We'd have been right in the thick of that playoff race.
Yeah.
We're not that far out of it now, but we'd have been serious contenders.
Yeah, I mean, again, if without everything that's going on at the moment, had this season finished, as we would expect, and next season continues as we would expect, we already have some really key players signed for next season, and maybe 1 or 2 tweaks here or there, and I reckon we could be in playoffs next season. Now with everything, we're gonna have to see even when next season starts, and I don't think there's any point thinking about next season until we know what happens this season. But
no, I think you're right. I think talking to Matt, we've obviously had the discussions already about where before any of this happened, where did he see next season going, and he had players in mind that he wanted to bring in. He had an idea of what he wanted to do with the squad, what formation, where he saw it going, and he was very confident for next season. I think he still is. No,
that's good. I mean, and I there's no reason why it shouldn't be either. Why he shouldn't be either with the way we have been playing. Now, we've got a few questions. I'm gonna kind of go through. There's questions coming through all the time, which is good. What I wanted to do for the everybody viewing on YouTube, as we're talking about the players at home and what they're getting up to, we've got a few little clips you may have seen on Twitter, on Instagram. But give this a look, and then you'll see, how hard they are working at home. All right, we are off the air momentarily, Dave, for about 1 minute.
Yeah,
Sorry, I've just.
you've gone quiet.
Yes, no, sorry. I've been talking on mute. Apologies, everybody. I muted my mic by accident. My bad. You should be able to hear sound coming through. So going through some of the comments now, there's a lot of no sound comments, which will be going away shortly, hopefully. There's a question coming in about favourite moment from this season that you can think of so far. Obviously, we don't want to say the season's completely over. But is there any kind of particular footballing moment from this season that kind of popped out at you?
Yeah, I may somehow I've ended up as chairman of the board, but basically I'm a football supporter. I started watching on the terraces in the 50s. So football's been my passion ever since I knew what it was. And I still think, irrespective of the way the Premier League's gone, football's about the glory, it's about the fun, it's about the moment. So, I hope the FA Cup goes back eventually to what it used to be when it was so important to everybody. But I can think of the moments this year that made me get out of my chair.
Yeah.
A couple of times David Ajiboye has hit the ball like an absolute cannonball and gone through the keeper's hands into the net because they weren't expecting it to be hit so hard. And then my favourite moment has to be 23 seconds into the game at Woking, sitting in the stand exactly behind Omar when he decided to volley a ball that was dropping out the sky. And from the instant he hit it, that was in the back of the net. And I thought that was just an unbelievable strike. And I know that if he did it, sorry Omar, if you're listening to this, I know if he did it another 100 times, it wouldn't go in 100 times. That's what you want. You want to see people take a risk, have a go, and do something you think that was worth me coming out for. And I thought that was, for me, the highlight of the season was that goal.
I mean, so I'm, as I've mentioned before, my girlfriend's fairly understanding when it comes to every Saturday down the Gander Green, travelling away all around the country, evenings, compiling the highlights. And the one thing she said was, you know, she's happy with all of it. And the one thing she said is, Boxing Day, can you please just not go? Can you, you know? And I said, fair enough. You know, you're very understanding with everything. So Boxing Day, I will be at home. Only then to see from the highlights Omar's goal.
It was special.
There he was, and I think, do you know what, I've seen Vanarama doing a goal of the season kind of group, kind of like the Champions League. And I think one thing that needs to be taken into consideration with that is that it was 1 minute into the game. And I feel like that makes it a lot more special. Straight from, and again...
He completed a good week for him, because if you think Omar had scored a hat-trick the game before, he scored those goals at Woking, and then he missed the next game because his wife had given birth. So he's probably had a fairly good Christmas.
No, it's true. I would say for me personally, I think about a lot of favourite memories. Genuinely though, I would probably say first game of the season, just having that fresh season feel to it. I loved it. It's always, you know, I go to the pre-season games, but I'd say my best memory is just going, travelling up the Hartlepool in the first game of the season, and there was nerves because it was Matt's first game. There was a few debuts, and just making that long trip worth it. Because there's nothing worse if we went up there and got, you know, hammered, and you've got that long coach back. But I would say for me personally, anyway.
Now I can remember Bruce turning around at the final whistle, saying, "I am so pleased with that Jason after all the effort they've put in and the expectation about what would happen. Our first match after, you know, we changed manager after having Dodds for 10 years.
Yeah.
I'm so pleased together. And at a ground like Hartlepool, you know, proper football club. Took it well afterwards. No sour grapes from them. Good crowd, good game, good stadium, excellent hospitality. And it's things like that that make you turn around and realise why you want this club, if we're not in the Football League, to be in this league.
Yeah.
And not further down the pyramid, because the memories you're creating. I think there's 12 grounds in this league now that are ex-football league clubs.
Yeah.
And it is just, I mean, for me, I've said a few times to some of my colleagues on the board, it's like having a never-ending cup run.
Yeah. No, I know what you
mean. It used to
mean.
be that we only went to those games once every 2 or 3 years. If we were lucky enough to get to the first round of the cup and we got drawn away to Torquay or something like that. And we're now playing those sides week in, week out, as equals, and winning.
Yeah.
It's a fantastic time.
On that note, Notts County away, go in there and they're actually being a media room, you know, with the TV up with the early kickoff on, and somebody bringing us tea, and you're thinking, wow, like this is non-league, right? You know, in this big 20,000 all-seater stadium.
Yeah.
Although I would say one glaring
built for the Premier League, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Although I would say one glaring thing missing from the stadium was a scoreboard. You would have thought with 20,000 seats, they would have a scoreboard, which I think they've put up since we visited. So
yeah.
if we're in the same league as them,
going to places like that are amazing day out.
Now I noticed, so it's 7:53 by my clock. I'm not sure how this is going to stream across because there is a slight delay on the YouTube stream, so it may be slightly out of sync with the time of it. But at 8 o'clock, there is a clap for the NHS, and as I'm sure everybody else is going to be wanting to join in as that as well. So I will mention a 5-minute warning. Like I said, this may be slightly out of sync with YouTube, so everybody watching. But at 8 o'clock on my watch, I will be getting up and just giving a minute's applause, and I hope everybody at home does as well, and yourself, Dave, because I mean, I have family who work or have worked in the NHS or still do, and they're all doing a great job. And it's also important to remember everybody else who are essential workers, down to, you know, the postman, people working in supermarkets, you know, all the emergency services. So just
a lot of my colleagues are working like that at the moment. The firm I work for looks after 10 hospitals around London. So they're having to go in as cleaners, as cooks, as porters, as maintenance engineers. So yeah, I totally agree with you. They're well off their feet.
Yeah, I mean, it's important to, you know, thank and pay, you know, to show some gratitude for everybody in the NHS and what they do for us. But I also think it's important to remember, I mean, to all the other key workers you may not consider, which, you know, you should do. I mean, even down, so my father has a garage, and he's constituted as a key worker because of MOTs, and you must have an MOT, right? And so even down to people like that, and I just think, you know, it's nice that the country can come together and clap and just take notice of it. Now,
indeed. So I'll certainly join in. And the other thing, I know you're looking to show a clip in a short while. I'm going to take that advantage to nip out to the kitchen here because I've got a shepherd's pie in the oven that needs checking.
Well, I tell you what. I mean, you feel free to go and check on that at any stage. I can always vamp. I mean, to be fair, Dave, I think it's about 50-50 viewership. I think, you know, people are here for me. So
Oh, I'm sure it's more like 70-30 for you.
So I think, you know, in preparation for that, one thing to mention, one of the clips that I wanted to show is the Leyton Orient memories, kind of giving it away there. We were talking before the call about a game that you can think back to, a recent one that we can show some clips of, and one of those.
Yeah, well, exactly. And that harks back to what we were saying just now. I can remember Sutton going up into the conference in the 80s, and it was a competitive league, and I'm not saying the standard has changed because it's still the 5th division. The clubs in the league then were the traditional non-league powerhouses, Altrincham, Runcorn, Telford, Wickham. And we just felt like we were in with the elite of the non-league. When we came up 3-4 years ago, obviously that first season was an eye-opener, but it was dominated by the FA Cup.
Mm.
In the sense, it's hard to remember what happened in the league because the FA Cup was so important.
Yeah.
And then we had Leyton Orient come to us on the opening day of the season. TV cameras.
Yeah.
3,000 crowd.
Mm.
I'll say that again. 3,000 crowd for a league match at Sutton.
Mm.
5 years ago, the average was 625.
It's crazy.
And we won.
Yeah. I mean...
And that was the day when I really realised actually everything has changed.
Mm.
We're a non-league club, but we're effectively playing league football.
I mean, it's true.
Different to what it's been before. And that brought it home to me that day. I thoroughly enjoyed the day.
No, it's true. So it's funny picking that game because that was actually my first game at Gander Green Lane.
Good choice.
Now I know, right? I was lucky enough. As I keep talking about her, my girlfriend, she actually bought me a season ticket as a birthday present, one for her and one for me. I think mainly because she wanted to go. But
if you mention her often enough, James, we'll actually believe she's real.
I mean, she is. I mean, I promise you can trust me, right? I mean, I know you can't see me, Dave. Everybody on YouTube, I've got a trustworthy face, haven't I? Really? So.
You have.
Yeah. But yeah, and I mean that big crowd, the massive following that Leyton Orient brought, being on the cameras, it was really something. It was really something special. And I went down there. I mean, I'd always kind of kept an eye on Sutton. They're my local team. I'm from Sutton. I've never lived anywhere else. And that was the first time I've gone to a game, and that feeling has never really kind of left me. And that's what, I keep coming back, keep getting season tickets. And now when I saw there was an opportunity to help with SUFCtv, I jumped at the chance because, the only thing I like, not more than football, but almost as much, is playing around with videos on my Mac. So... right, so it's a 7:59. I think, thanks, Sol, you're saying about 40 seconds behind. So I'm going to take a break now to clap for the NHS. Everybody, hope you join with me. And when I'm finished with that, I'm going to be playing the some clips from that Leyton Orient game we've just talked about. So if everybody...
Okay.
Yeah, so...
Dave,
yeah,
can
Dave...
I then hang up and you can call me back when you're ready to talk to me again?
Yes, I will do, Dave. I'll give you a call back.
Brilliant.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Talk to you soon.
Cheers.
Right, well, Dave has gone off to clap himself, and I will be doing that as well. Everybody, please, if you will, if I've got this to sync up right, that is. What I'm actually going to do, I'm still clapping, but I'm just going to turn my sound down so I don't hammer your ears. I think I'm going to stop it there. I think my arms will fall off if I keep going. But I hope everybody who's watching at home, I'm glad to see 23 people sat with me that entire time to watch me clap. I appreciate that. And I hope everybody is showing your appreciation in your own way too. Now, as I mentioned before, when I was talking to Dave, is that I wanted to go through with you and show you some shortened highlights of that Leyton Orient game. As I said, that's my first game that I went to down at Gander Green Lane. The extended highlights are available on the Sutton, on the SUFCtv YouTube channel. But I've got a supercut 6-minute clip for you, so enjoy.
League, well-known giant killers Sutton United host Leyton Orient. The O's were just a penalty shootout away from the championship as recently as 2014. Now a non-league side for the first time since 1905. This, they hope, is where the resurgence begins. Now the time for new beginnings, for fresh aims and objectives as we get underway in the National League season. A clean slate, new opportunities. Of course, long pre-seasons over, players rested and recuperated and raring to go, and a National League season ahead.
For a good season this year.
Kick-on was a good one as Dundas looks to try and make something of it. Widdowson had to be careful there! It's a penalty! Widdowson with the challenge. The referee seemed to have a really good view and was left in no doubt. Widdowson lost his footing, and I have to say on first sight that looked a stick-on penalty.
Well, it's one of those ones you just don't deal with. You need that bit of communication. You let the ball bounce. And Dundas is there. It's a clumsy challenge. You get the wrong side of it, and all of a sudden it's in the striker's favour. It's a clumsy challenge from Widdowson. You let the ball bounce, cause your own problems, and it's good strength there. And it's the one ball that's caused Leyton Orient problems. It's a good decision there.
Almost a quarter of an hour gone. It is Jamie Collins scored that penalty against Leeds in the Cup. Scores the opening goal of the National League season. Sent the goalkeeper the wrong way.
Allows the keeper just to dive that little bit early and sends in the wrong way. It's been a good start from Paul Doswell's side, and the coolly taken penalty from the captain.
Dated it was a pretty clumsy challenge, really. Lafayette. Cadogan. Eastman's the player who gives chase. He's been trapped by Coulson. Nice trick there by Craig Eastman. And it drew the challenge and the foul from Coulson.
Such a great little bit of quick feet there. Clumsy there from Coulson. He's not really going anywhere.
The pitch was dry. It won't be dry for much longer, and neither will we actually at Beer. It's flicked on at that near post. Out it comes to Spence. Plenty still forward for Sutton. And it goes, a great ball, and the goalkeeper is stranded, and it's been turned home. It's a second here for Sutton United, and it's the other centre-half, Dean Beckwith, who's got his name on the score sheet.
They don't do enough to stop the cross coming in. It's a great ball down that corridor of death. And it's a well-taken finish there from Dean Beckwith, just free. Great ball in, just around Ella Kobe. Just saying for someone to go and attack it. You call that one a goal ball, Adam. Brilliant ball in.
Well, reap the benefits of that eventually, but they've got a big job on their hands here, and it might even get worse before half-time. In the 4th minute of added time. This really should be the last act you would think of the first half, as Bailey decides to have a go from some way out. And there is the half-time whistle. Leyton Orient will be up hoping that they can hit back here against Sutton United. Must have felt like the only way was up for O supporters after last season, but it's been a tough start, a rude awakening to life in the National League for Steve Davis's side out.
They've got the wind with them this time.
Well, they just need a base on which to build here, Leyton Orient. There is plenty of quality in this side if they can just get going here. Caprice with the ball over. It wasn't bad at all, but held by the goalkeeper, Jamie Butler. 3 on the edge of the area here, interestingly, for Sutton, but it swung right into the 6-yard box, and the keeper got an important touch to that. Did well there, Charlie Granger. There is some activity down on the Orient bench, and some of their supporters might suggest not before time.
So the cutback was on there. You see Thomas being grappled there. So Granger, good goalkeeping there. You go into an area.
More than many players that they have who's come through the youth system. Oh, it's fallen nicely to be hit by Lafayette, but it was wide. That's a chance.
There's a big chance there for Ross Lafayette. Will he be thinking, should I have gone across the goalkeeper? They just don't deal with it. Leyton Orient Coulson gets caught underneath it. Just snaps at it a little bit when it just bounces to him. Could have used his left foot there to strike it across the goalie.
We started with the sun out at Gander Green Lane, and we'll end with the sun out. And Sutton United off to the perfect start. The serial giant killers have taken another big scalp. Steve Davis and Leyton Orient begin life in the National League with a defeat.
Right, and here we go. I haven't forgot to unmute myself this time. So learning as I go. Yeah, so there was the Super Cup version of Sutton versus Leyton Orient in 2017. I've been, as I said, that was my first game at Gander Green Lane, and something I've actually forgot about, and I'll talk about with Dave when I get him back on the phone, is I completely forgot how it started to hail, like the heavens opened and it was hailing so hard. And at one stage, I genuinely thought, I was like, they better bring the players in because somebody's going to get hurt. And then out of nowhere, the sun suddenly came back out again. And it was like a proper nice sunny day. It was one of those days where you needed shorts, jumper, sunglasses, trackies. You needed a lot. That was a proper British day, that. Now, there's another clip when we were talking about the staying at home challenges, and I did play the first team doing the loo roll challenge. There's another stay at home clip which I thought was really quality actually. It was from our own Connor Reid, who is the commentator for the Sutton United women's team. Now you may have seen this, you may not, but if you have seen it, it's worth seeing again. This is Connor's stay at home challenge.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to your Sutton United lineup. In goal, Zoe McNulty. At right back, Jennifer Neves. And your two centre-halves for today, Cindy Colliver and Alex White. At left back, Evie Netbit. Your two in the holding midfield, Tamara Graham and Keisha Small. And your attacking trio, Emily Wilson, Hayley Halford, Dark C. Wells, and Faye Butter. And your manager for today's game is none other than Duncan Muller.
Our commentator, so everyone, there's our commentator for the Sutton United women team doing his pun starting 11. And again, I think that's a quality go from him. So we just seen the highlights from the Leyton Orient game. And one thing I actually forgot about, Dave, was the weather that day. It was do you remember this? Where it was just the heavens open and hailstones was just battering the players. And then out of nowhere, the sun just came out.
I'd forgotten, but yeah, looking back at it now, yeah, it was unbelievable. Yes, but I had forgotten about that. The football I remembered, but not the weather.
No, it's funny. There's Mike has commented on here saying that his lads were ball boys, and they were drenched at half time. And then, funny enough, by the end of the game, the sun had come back out and they were fully dry.
Yeah.
So I think just to kind of finish off everything with you, Dave, one final piece that I wanted to talk about is goal of the season. Now, I'm sure you've got your favourite and I've got mine. Mine is not based on who is commentating either. But have you got a pick at all? Would you be keen enough to share what you think our goal of the season is so far?
I think I've played my cards earlier, didn't I? I think my moment of the season is that goal from Omar.
Yeah.
At Woking, that volley. There have been 2 or 3 really good team goals. And I think if you look at the selection that SUFCtv have put together, it would be a hard choice. But for me, that Omar goal is that will stick in my mind for a long, long time. Watching 52 years, there are some goals that stick in my mind. There's a goal Mickey Stevens scored at Harrow that some of the older supporters remember, and a few others. And I have to admit, I do like a good long shot.
Yes.
That goes in and breaks the back of the net. I appreciate a nicely worked pass goal, you know. Sometimes Barcelona, with their 374 passes before someone taps it in the net, I'm sure it's brilliant, but I'm not excited by it. I am excited by seeing someone hit the cover off the ball.
Yes. See, I am not biased at all, but I loved Jamie Collins' rocket of a free kick. I was lucky enough to be commentating that game, and I believe that was my first game. I was given about 5 minutes notice. I wasn't planning on doing commentary, or it may have been my second game. Either way, I wasn't given any notice. It was almost, here's a mic, there you go. And I was lucky enough to see that.
We've scored a few decent free kick goals this year. The one that Rob Milson got, his first one.
Yeah.
Scored, as well as the one the other day. But he's scored a couple of good free kicks. It's been a while since we've had someone who could put them in regularly. No,
that is true. Now, I just, before I'm going to show goal of the season clip to the stream, but I did, I don't want to take up all your time, Dave, and I just wanted to go through a few questions from the chat, some football related, some not. So I'm going to start off with a very, very important one. It's going to be very difficult to answer. Peas or beans with the shepherd's pie?
Sorry?
Peas or beans with your shepherd's pie?
Oh, peas.
Really? Peas?
Oh, yes. They're my favourite vegetable.
Oh, yeah, but, I mean, you need to... I like beans because it's got that sauce to go with it. Well, there you go, Mike. Question answered in that one. We had a question coming in via Instagram as well. The question is about, do we have an ambition of joining the Football League at some point in the future? I know one thing being the pitch, but, you know, I think Doz had said it before, that if it happens, you know, we'll let it happen if we're in the opportunity for it.
Yeah, undoubtedly. You can't not have ambition in football. You have to, if you stifle your ambition, the only thing that happens is you end up going backwards.
Yeah.
No, I'm not saying we're going to end up in the Premier League. What we've seen is the teams coming down. On the field, we could hold our own, I think, in the next division up. The one thing that we know we have to do is address our ground.
Yeah.
Both in terms of bringing it up to the required standard and the issue around the 3G pitch. Because whatever else you think, that 3G pitch is now an important part of our community with 40-odd teams playing on it. And we have to find a way to balance that. But yeah, of course we've got an ambition to go up.
Yeah, I mean, this is the thing. As Doz said, you know, pretty on the same lines as what you said, that if we're there and if we're playing well and we're around, you know, the playoffs, you know, we all have ambitions. Everybody wants to do better. So of course, but no, it would make sense because, like you say, otherwise you should be going backwards.
Exactly. And what's the point?
No, exactly.
As I mentioned earlier, football is about glory. Sutton United, the other recent year we came third in the conference.
Yeah.
National League. The highest we've ever finished. We reached the 5th round of the Cup. The highest we've ever done in the FA Cup. So these are the things that matter. The glory. It's all very well saying,
Yeah.
we had a good season, we came 7th. Great, okay, yeah, we can do that for a while. You've got to have the moments that make you think, that's why I went. So, yeah, we've got ambitions to go into football. But make no mistake, there's 23 other teams in this league who all want to be in the Football League.
Yeah.
So it ain't easy.
No, it's true. And again, I'd say just a final one. And it's something we'd mentioned before, and I think it's been talked about a little bit online, about a certain game where you'd say it's probably the best you've ever seen us play.
Yeah, I saw the thread that was on the forum. I thought I had to comment about away to Middlesbrough. Honestly, the way we played that night, I do not think I've ever seen a better Sutton United performance. And I've seen most of the good ones. You know, all the big FA Cup wins.
Yeah.
The 5-0 against Aldershot to win the league. The final in Trieste. And having, you know, Mark Craig put on the website on the forum today or yesterday, I'm not sure, about winning the Anglo-Italian in Chieti.
Yeah.
We played okay that day. But the following year, when we lost against Triestina in Trieste,
Yeah.
we were outstanding. It was a 0-0 draw after extra time. But we played really, really well. It was live on Italian TV, and we've been trying desperately to get the footage, but we can't. The following night, Arsenal against Valencia in the final of the UEFA Cup was also live.
Oh.
People saw both, said our game was better. But the Middlesbrough game away, I will always, always remember how well we played. That team had grown up together. They knew what each other was doing, and we just grew into the match as it went on. And some people who were there will remember, in the closing seconds of the game, Nigel Golly hit the bar with a header. If it had dropped an inch earlier, it would have been in. We'd have won 1-0, and the next round we'd been at Goodison Park.
I mean, do you know what, though?
I just thought that was sensational. It's
amazing. It's amazing what football can do, right? I mean, you know, it's tough to explain to people that aren't football people, isn't it? You know, how the memories can stick with you. But it's those kind of games that really...
You come home, some of the older fans again will remember, you can come home having been beaten 5-0 at home by Dulwich. Why do I bother to watch that? And then a few short years later, you're knocking Coventry City out of the FA Cup.
Yeah.
And you think, for all the cold, wet, windy nights I've spent watching the game in all parts of the country and been wondering why I'm there.
Yeah.
I'm there because of the nights when we beat Coventry, we draw with Middlesbrough, and we go to Ayrton Park, and we beat Leeds. And 47 years, by the way, we waited for revenge over Leeds.
Yeah.
I'm quite happy with that.
Yeah, but you know what? Football, it always comes back around, doesn't it? And there's another memory that's going to last on forever. But look, anyway, I'll let you go, Dave, but thank you so much for joining us.
You're very welcome, and I'm happy to come back on, depending how long this lasts. And I know some of my colleagues on the board and the management committee also said they're more than happy to be interviewed, so I hope we can keep people entertained.
Yeah, and so do we. We're going to be doing things, live streams regularly, and hopefully we can put out some information of future ones to come. But anyway, thank you very much, Dave. Appreciate you joining us, and we'll talk to you again soon.
You're very welcome. No problem. Thanks.
So now Dave's gone. One final thing I wanted to finish off on, and I'm sure it's a video everybody's seen a few times, but I think it's very important that we focus on some happy memories and some happy thoughts, and I'm going to play you through some of the goals of the season. Now, I don't want to influence anything, however, I have a favourite, and by the looks of it, somebody in the chat does as well. So let me know what you think, guys.
line this up. If he doesn't take it quickly, the ball's going to move in the wind. Here comes free kick, shot a goal, and it's in! What a goal! What a goal! Rob Milson, take a bow, son. Get in. It's fairly simple as free kicks go. He's taken it. I don't think the Chorley goals jumped. I think they thought he was going to go under. He's taken it and he's managed to get it up and over in the right. We just hit the 45 minute mark. If you're going to score, now's a chance. Whistle blown. Two man stood over it. Milson leaves it. Collins shoots. And it's a goal! New team! Goal! Goal! El Capitan! Jamie Collins with the goal! Milson fooled me. Milson did he dummied it. I thought he was going to go for it. Jamie Collins with a David Luiz guess. Just boom, straight forward, isn't the net.
Sutherland, cleared away by Goodliff. Header won by absolute captain. Ajiboye gets there. Right points to where he wants the ball. Can Ajiboye feed him? That is some strike from David Ajiboye. Buteman was pointing to where he wanted it. Ajiboye chose to ignore him. And that was an emphatic finish.
And the ball won back by Ajiboye. Conor Wright having a shot. Conor Wright is a wonderful goal! Conor Wright for 25 yards. Thought, why not? Let me have a bang. I just put it right past the goalkeeper into the right hand side. Kind of hour nothing here at Gannery, and the whole stadium has woken up. Nothing more than Sutton have deserved so far in the second half. They had chance there, but it's cleared away by Eastman and then Davis. Davis nodding it forward for Barton. And now on the counter attack on Sutton here. Here's McGill. McGill has options out wide. He finds Barton. And the bodies are firing in there for the use. Barton, it backs outside to McGill.
Comes the corner towards that near post where it was headed clear by Davis. Now maybe a counter-attack is on it. Well, would have been. Well, he has kept it in, Ajiboye. I thought that had gone out. Now they're really stretched here. Yeovil, Ajiboye goes on. It's a great chance. He squared it, brilliant ball, and they've taken the lead. It's the top scorer back in the side today. Harry Buteman, who makes his mark already. What a goal that it.
Ajiboye does brilliant to keep on there. I have no idea what Miles Hippolyte is doing. That is not a foul. And then all of a sudden they are completely outnumbered. And in this position now, you need to make the right decision. And he does that brilliantly. Squares it for Harry Buteman. Being too clever on the halfway line, Hippolyte gets caught. Goes past the ad. Could he have taken him down and made the foul? Doesn't decide.
Good header from Ajiboye. Right, tries to send Ajiboye. Can do. Ajiboye! Oh, that is brilliant! That is brilliant from David Ajiboye! It's 4-0! We get to the 30th minute and it's 4-0! That is brilliant from David Ajiboye. That's the pick of the lot there. We've just ended the half-hour mark, and Sutton United have just made it 4-0.
Lovely turn, Buteman! What a goal from the skipper to get the use back into this right at the end of the first half. A moment of real quality there.
And Milsom goes for it. Oh, Rob Milsom. He's had a couple of poor free kicks today, but he certainly made up for it by placing it right into the top corner. A special hit there for Rob Milsom, breaks the deadlock here at Gangrene Lane and gives Sutton United a deserved lead here.
So the stream's coming to an end now, which means that's the end of me forgetting to turn myself off mute. I am learning quicker though. The first time was about 20 or so seconds. Next time was about 5 or so. This one was only about 2 or 3 seconds. So I'm learning. But look, but seriously, thank you everyone for joining us tonight. We're trying our best to stay communicate with everybody. Anybody who's got any ideas that we could be using on social media, YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, get in contact with us. And you know, we're always looking for ideas. And if anybody can put anything together, get in contact with us. I think that's one of the beauties of Sutton United, is that we're a community, and we're always looking for each other, looking out for each other. You know, and if anybody wants to get involved, we're more than happy to welcome you into our little family. Now, I'm finished with that, and I will plug the fact that you should go and vote for Jamie Collins versus Dover, because it was a cracking goal and the commentary on point. But thank you very much, everyone. Just to sign off, remember everyone, social isolation, stay at home. If we want football to come back, the sooner the better, and the only way to get that done is if everybody stays at home, if everyone social distance, and everyone follows the rules, because the more people that do that, the quicker we'll get over this, and then we'll be able to go down Gangrene Lane again, and who knows, maybe see us get another 3 points. But thank you everyone tonight. I've enjoyed myself. I hope everyone else has, and that's me signing off.